So, the counting of votes is underway in Cameroon after Sunday's presidential election. And as we've been saying, incumbent Paul Biya, currently 92 years old, is seeking an unprecedented eighth term in office, having ruled for more than 4 decades. And his prominent challenger is former government spokesperson Issa Tchiroma, who has sought to rally support behind the promise of change. Well, joining us now is Tendai Mbanje, who's a project officer with the Expression, Information and Digital Rights Unit at the Centre for Human Rights at the University of Pretoria, who observed the election process, and he joins us now. Tendai, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Peter, and thank you so much for inviting me to the platform.
So I know that you've covered many elections across the continent. This one, even before it started, a lot of people were saying this isn't going to be a free and fair election. We've been hearing already of reports of ballot stuffing and numbers just not tallying up. What's been your observation so far?
So thank you, Peter. I'm not in Cameroon, but I was part of a situation room. I've been following the elections closely since since the election campaign started. The issues that were central, critical to these elections, I've been also writing about them. So, and I've been in touch with people on the ground, so that informs the perspective in which I'm commenting this morning. Yesterday, there has been, of course, the reports of ballot stuffing, selected incidents of violence, burning of military trucks, and so forth, which were expected because already the election environment, like any other Cameroonian election, has been tense. And in this case, it has been more tense because two of the contenders were part of Paul Biya's administration. And that even made the environment more tense. And that also intensified the contest. And particularly of interest is that Issa Tchiroma, who is also seen to be a very strong contender to Biya, comes from the north. And he has been central in the previous elections to Paul Biya's winning, particularly to the Islamic community. And the majority of the voters who have been voting for Biya's political party come from the north. So that's the kind of the interesting phenomenon in this particular election.
You've mentioned regional shifts or influences. What I've seen in other countries is that often there's an urban cycle, urban vote patterns, and they normally voting against the incumbent. And then there's the rural patterns where either through intimidation or lack of access to information, whatever it is, that they sometimes vote for the incumbent. Is that something that's playing out in Cameroon as well?
In this case, it's totally different because people were key to Biya's ruling. People were very key to sustaining Biya's political life are also contenders. And what we have seen from the situation on that, unlike in 2018, the voting patterns have slightly changed. Many young people were coming to vote. It's likely to be one of the protest votes. The cost of living in Cameroon is unbearable for ordinary people. Biya's age has been seen as something that has led many voters to lose confidence in him. And the fact that also there's breakaway from people who were key to his administration becoming contenders, they also split influence. They have so many sympathizers, and they've so many followers from his party and also from opposition. And like, for example, Issa Tchiroma's ability to have some coalition with political parties, and also to manage to galvanize support when Maurice Kamte was banned, that has also worked in his favor. And this election is actually a unique election in Cameroonian history. But what is a challenge is that it will take up to 2 weeks for election results to be announced. And historically, that's where the rigging is alleged to have taken place. So we believe that should any change happen in Cameroon, the opposition should be in a position to win with margins that will make it difficult for the Electoral Commission, which has for a very long time been accused to be partisan, which for a very long time has failed to manage and supervise elections and to administer elections that are smooth, or rather that have minimum standards of credibility.
With the passage of time, it gets harder and harder to rig elections just because of the technology that citizens have literally in their hands. Do you think if there is to be rigging and manipulation, that it might be harder to hide? And if that is the case, what could be the consequences? We're seeing Gen Z on the streets in Madagascar right now.
It's becoming very harder to rig. You're right, Peter. If you look at more than half of the population who are voting in Cameroon's election that they reported yesterday are less than 30. That tells you already that these are young people. The demographics have shifted. And also, although the voting age is 20, the irony is that the criminal ability in Cameroon is 18. Once you commit a criminal offense at the age of 18, you are liable for a criminal offense. You are not a minor, but the voting age is 20. And that has been historically done to exclude many young people, at least two cohorts, if not two, from in the sense that those who are 18 and 19 cannot vote. And these are young people who are just finishing school. So now there's been a lot of civic education of why that has been used as an instrument to exclude young people from voting. So now, even though that has been the case, but you see that the demographics are working in favor of young people with numbers. And young people, in this case, they tend to relate to opposition. And mostly you see that these opposition figures that come in are generally young people. You see that in this case, the strong contender is a 76-year-old man who's contesting a 92-year-old. So young people will definitely know that it's better for a 76-year-old man who has a bit of energy, who will be able to actually to be present and being a head of state. It's a huge responsibility. A 92-year-old man whose health has been of question, and whose also presence in the country has been of question for a very long time, it makes young people tend to vote for a person who they tend to believe may deliver the future they want. So rigging in this case, and even in this case, in the context of Cameroon, it's going to be very hard, unlike the previous years where rigging was easy for them. Like even the way the ballot stuffing exposition, where the staff of the Electoral Commission are being exposed. We saw that also the tools for communication, social media, among other things, have been a game changer in the electoral processes. And it's no longer the elections that we knew traditionally, that where there were a lot of clandestine things being done. But now it is very hard. Information is always present, and information is always shared through the tools that we have. So I would say that this election it's not business as usual for Paul Biya.
One aspect that's not often talked about is the Anglophone Cameroon. I spoke to the Deputy President of Ambazonia, the self-proclaimed Republic, English-speaking people, and he said that they're not participating in these elections at all. How significant is that in your view? And what does this mean actually? Because some would say that there's a low-key civil war in Cameroon.
Yes, I mean, conflict has been very central and it's also been very regional. Um, Central in the sense that it has been a key issue in Cameroon for a very long time. And it is one thing that the administration of Paul Biya has failed to address. And Biya has been accused for actually being fueling conflict throughout his tenure. So you realize that although they might not they've proclaimed that they might not participate. But what we have seen on the ground is that even both in the Anglophone and Francophone regions, there have been large voter turnouts. There's been participation, and these are predominantly young people who see things in different way. And from the conversation I was having yesterday with the colleagues on the ground, they were saying that there have been this desire among young people to have a protest vote, and also the young people have been able to share information extensively prior to election. So while conflict is central to this, and it is also central to what young people expect to the new government, that the new leader should be able to address conflict, particularly in the north. Should be able to build the nation, a divided nation. Should be able to. There's been central thing of we need a transitional government that will be able to address the wounds of the past. That is also what has made Issa Tchiroma popular, because the agreement he has signed with other political leaders is about a 5-year plan of the transitional justice period that we will be able to address the wounds of the past, to be able to unite the country. Then you hand over the baton to the next person so that they can formulate a government when they've addressed the issues that have been of concern for the past 40 years.
Tendai, always great talking to you. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much, Peter, for having me.
That's Tendai Mbanje, Project Officer with the Expression, Information and Digital Rights Unit at the Centre for Human Rights at the University of Pretoria, who observed from a situation room this election process in Cameroon. And he says, yeah, it's not business as usual for Paul Biya. We'll have to wait and see what the results will be and what might be the consequences of whatever that result might turn out to be in the end.